Imagine waking up, looking at a transfer that's coming into your bank account for $5 million and checking your bank account every single day for the next month, wondering why it's not in there. And then questioning whether it was actually sent and wondering what's going on. You go to the bank, you ask them what's happening, and they say, "Sir, you don't have an account." You're like, "Well, I told him that I have this company and that this is going to be the bank, and he said I'll send it." "Sir, you don't have an account." Or imagine they say, "Sir, you have an account, but all that money was sent. You also had $5 million of debt." And you're like, "Well, that's my choice to spend it." "Sir, it was automatically withdrawn." Could you imagine the pausing of the heart, this life-changing thing that was going to help everything in your life? You were waiting and waiting and waiting and needed it, and then it was gone. Chazal finish off all of Mishnayos with a message. Could you imagine Shas Mishnayos? You're finishing off the most significant treatise in the world called Shas in Maseches Uktzin. And Chazal are like, okay, the Tanaim are like, we have to finish with one critical message. What are we going to finish it with? Rabbi Shimon bar Chalafta finishes it with a beautiful thing, a beautiful idea. But remember, Rabbi Shimon bar Chalafta is not just finishing with a beautiful idea. He's finishing with the idea, the ending, the closing, the thing that everything else that we already spoke about has to end with this message. And he says, the Mishnah says that he teaches there's only one vessel that can hold blessing, one account that the money, the $5 million, can be shifted into. One account that will make sure that the auto withdrawals or the debt collectors that are trying to pull it can't just grab it and take it away from you. It lands in your kli, and then you decide how you are going to utilize it. I'm not looking for comments here about money management and debt and all that. I'm trying to get across the point. The kli machzik, Hashem is constantly sharing shefa with us every moment of every day. And if you want that blessing to land, it comes through peace. There's an amazing thought that's brought down in the Gemara about a sota, a woman who's suspected of cheating on her husband, and she has to be brought to the temple and drink water that had a parchment with the writings of the curse of the soto lady. And if it makes her explode, then it reveals that she had cheated on her husband. But if it doesn't, then what winds up happening is that she winds up having a child. She's blessed. If she couldn't have been blessed, she'll be blessed to have a child. There's miracle in it. And she'd go home, and there would be a rectified peace in the home. The Gemara wants to know, how is it that the woman can drink this? You put the parchment of Torah in there, you're erasing God's name. And the Gemara says, well, of course, Hashem is willing to erase his name, the name that we don't even utter in this world for thousands of years. We only say the Ado Shem name instead. So kadosh, so holy, represents God in the entire universe. The name that we bless every day, but saying that his name should be praised. And just erased. And the Gemara says, he lets it be erased for the sake of peace in a home. The Maharal builds off of this. He also points out that there's another idea when it comes to Hashem's name being protected. If you look in the book of Rus, Boaz says, Hashem imachem, right? God should be with you. And his servants answer, Yivarechecha Hashem. And there's a whole discussion that Boaz at the time felt that there needed to be growth, religious growth for the Jewish people. They had fallen away. And so they were bringing the cognizance, the recognition of God back into their lives. And so Hashem Imachem, greeting people with God should be with you, would add to that. It was almost like a temporary fixing that allowed Klal Yisrael to use Hashem's name. Nowadays, we have a alternative version of that. We say Shalom Aleichem, and the parak known as the parak HaShalom, the chapter of Shalom, which talks about a lot of these ideas, says that we're allowed that Hashem's name is Shalom. Gadol HaShalom Shmo Shemalach HaKadosh Baruch Hu Shalom. The great is peace because God's name is peace. And so the Maharal points out that whether it was with Boaz, whether it was with us nowadays saying Shalom Aleichem, how can we use God's name? How are we taking something so elevated and weakening it? And the answer is really this Gemara in Sanhedrin. It's saying the same idea, that Hashem is willing to let His name, right, which is the source of right, He's the source of blessing in this world. He's letting it be erased. He's letting it be utilized in ways that are not normal, that are not on the same level of not commodic, so to speak, for His name, in order to bring peace between the Jewish people. But the Maharal goes further. He explains the reason is as follows: if God's name is Shalom, if God's name is peace, so when you bring peace between people, you're not taking away from God's name. You're actually sanctifying God's name. You're adding to His name. You're being marbeh godliness, being marbeh shalom. In other words, shalom is synonymous with godliness. Peace itself is where the Makor HaBracha, where Hashem is manifesting in this world in a direct way, and we are blessed to interact with it and have it. And it comes through this idea of greeting. God should be with you. Peace unto you. It's bringing more godliness between two Jews when you say this. And the Maharal says that's the idea here. So it's not taking away from God, it's actually adding to God. And if you look at the Gemara, if you're thinking about the Gemara in Sanhedrin, same thing. Yes, it erases His name. But a Jewish home is so holy. It's a manifestation of godliness too. And the shalom there is going to manifest that. So the kli machzik bracha, the vessel that holds blessing in our lives for every single one of us, that we need and we want, that bank account, so that all those incredible gifts that God is showering into this world, so that it lands and we get to catch it and keep it and hold it in our lives. The key of it is shalom. And I ask you, going into a Shabbat for shalom, for peace, a Shabbos for peace, ask yourself, what is one way that I can make more shalom in my home? What is one thing I could let go? What is one thing that my husband or my wife or my children need or want, and if I can provide it, it'll bring them a sense of peace. It'll bring them a sense of joy. It's something that I've been holding back on. The keys for shalom are always in your hand. There's always a key in your hand. Whether someone else wants it or not, there's a step that you could take. And that's what's on you. Hashem should bless us, Klal Yisrael, especially during this time of the 3 weeks, that shalom should be meruba, should be more and more and more found everywhere. That godliness, the Makor HaBracha, through shalom is found, and that we get to dance together by the temple. Thank you and have a beautiful Shabbos.